from Armstrong Family Winery. Tim, welcome. It's so good to have you and to taste your wine.
Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us.
You bet. It's so fun to have all these wonderful ladies here, and they're getting to taste your wine as well. So tell us a little bit about your winery.
Sure. Yeah. So Armstrong Family Winery, we are a boutique winery located right here in Woodinville.
Okay.
We make our wine just about 5 minutes from here, actually, in an area of the Woodinville wine country called the Warehouse District. Specifically, we're in a neighborhood called the Junction. And for those people who don't know, Woodinville is one of the most dynamic and exciting wine tasting destinations in the world, frankly.
Yes, and there's so many wineries, but it's fun to visit these small,
We're very small. We're
and
tiny.
you guys are
We're very
fairly
boutique.
new,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you have a young family,
We
and
do.
it's nice to support and to taste the different wines.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your wines.
Sure. Well, when my wife and I first fell in love with wine, neither of us grew up in a wine family outside of, maybe a jug of Carlo Rossi that was around during the holidays.
And you're not from this area originally, are
neither
you?
one of us
Did I
are.
see that
That's
you're from
right.
like Chicago or?
We were married in Chicago
Okay.
and both of our children were born in Chicago, and we moved here.
And that's not
for
really
the-
known as wine country there.
It's not, no. As a matter of fact, that is where we first fell in love with wine.
Okay.
But when we decided that this was a passion that we wanted to pursue, we looked for an opportunity to do that, and frankly looked all over the world in different places that we could go. And Washington made the short list, and it worked out that at the time I had a day job working for a company based in Redmond that a lot of people know.
Yeah.
And so
Wine
Pat,
sounds so much more fun.
so our path brought us out here to the Puget Sound, and we
Excellent.
couldn't be happier.
So your original education was not in wine, was
No,
it?
no,
So how
not
did
at
that
all.
come about?
Yeah, so again, wine was something that we developed a passion for. And it started off just rather innocently, I'd say, trying, wine, enjoying it, slowly starting to get more interested in it, buying more expensive wine, starting to collect wine, and just kind of, we weren't satiated, kept wanting to learn more, and took a class, and that didn't satisfy me either, and so we just decided to keep learning. And eventually, once we decided that we wanted to start the winery, and we came out here to Washington State to do that, I jumped right in. We were literally buying grapes before our furniture arrived on the moving
that
truck.
right?
So that's a true story, yeah. And through that process, I really jumped in not knowing anything, not intending that first year, of course, to make wine commercially, but just to try and make wine. And I was naive and really didn't know a thing, and that's good because I don't think I would have done it if I knew then what I know now. But yeah, so we jumped right in. And so I'd say, winemakers generally learn their craft, generally speaking, three different ways. First is academically, and for me, that was primarily through Washington State University.
Okay.
WSU has really one of the finest viticulture and enology programs in the country, and just world-class research taking place there in the field, and so that's very exciting. And so I did both the viticulture and enology programs through their extension. And the second area that you learn is from other winemakers. And so when I first came to Washington, I showed up on the crush pad of another winery here in Washington and basically traded my labor for knowledge and experience.
Oh, that's great.
And I still learn from other winemakers constantly. And the third way that you learn is really just on your own. It's everything from trial and error to just doing the research, and of course we learn quite a bit by drinking wine too.
Yes,
tasting
yeah,
it.
yes, that's the hard part, isn't
Right,
it?
exactly. Yeah.
And so, do you have a certain place that you always get your grapes, or do you source from all different areas?
Yeah, so we source entirely from the Columbia Valley in eastern Washington. So all but one of the 6 vineyards that we source from are in Washington. One of them is actually 5 minutes into Oregon in the Walla Walla Valley. A lot of people don't realize that most of the Walla Walla vineyards, or a lot of the Walla Walla vineyards, are actually in the Oregon side. And so
no, I didn't know that either.
The viticulture area doesn't have any recognition. It doesn't recognize the agricultural boundary that exists. So
awesome.
so yeah, the grapes don't care what state they're from.
Yeah.
But so at any rate, so we source from we've got about 2 acres in Walla Walla. We source from 3 different vineyards at the kind of the opposite end of the Columbia Valley, up just past Yakima and just outside of a town called Zilla.
Yeah.
And then another vineyard that's up a little bit further north, and then one that's down almost all the way to Oregon in an area called Horse Heaven Hills.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. So we are tasting a couple wines tonight. Why don't
We
you
are.
tell us quickly about those?
Sure.
So we've got a white here.
Yeah, the wine that's in
Yeah,
your glass is
okay.
definitely our most popular wine. It's called Wild Angels.
Very
So
nice.
the wine itself is a blend of Chardonnay and Viognier. Classically, if you think of wine historically, those 2 grapes would not be blended together very often because they come from 2 different regions in France. Chardonnay is Burgundy grape, and Viognier is from the Rhone. So it's not very classical to blend those 2 together, but we're in the New World, so we get to make our own rules.
Yes.
And we
And
really
it
like
is.
what
It's
it does.
very nice. It's
Yeah.
very smooth. Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, so it's definitely a popular wine for us. We make it so that it's not oaky. It's not an oaky buttery Chardonnay. It's nice and light and crisp. So
It is.
it's perfect for a beautiful summer night like tonight.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The ladies are going to have to stop by for the weekend and get some bottles of wine from you.
Absolutely.
So tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about the red that you're serving here tonight.
Yeah, sure. So the red wine is called Four Birds, and that is a little bit more of a traditional blend of Merlot and Cabernet Franc. So those are 2 grapes that grow really well here in Washington, and classically speaking, are from the Bordeaux region in France, where they're most well known. And so Merlot Cabernet Franc is a blend that's been done for a very long time in that region, and we do it super well here in Washington. That wine is called Four Birds.
Four Birds.
So both Wild Angels and Four Birds are.
So how do you choose the names of your
Oh,
wine?
yeah, sure. That's
There's always a story
a
behind.
favorite topic. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So we really do look to name the wines for something that we're a family winery, and we're passionate about that, and it's something that our entire family is involved in. My wife and I and our kids, and so we really wanted to honor the folks in our family that have helped us out a lot. Wild Angels is named for our 2 daughters, so that we think that aptly describes them.
And how
Sometimes
old
they're
are they?
wild, and sometimes they're angels. They are 6 and 8 years old,
Oh,
so they
awesome.
are
Yes,
wild
yes,
angels.
yeah.
But truth be told, my wife and a lot of her friends, I think Wild Angels resonates for them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I like that.
Yeah, and Four Birds is named in honor of my wife's family. Her maiden name is Robbins, like the bird, and there's 4 of them: mom, dad, and 2 daughters, and
Aw.
they've been super helpful to us, and just obviously a really important part of our life, and very supportive of the winery. And so Four Birds is our way of honoring my wife's family's
Oh, that's fabulous.
involvement in the winery.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, I hope you all have a chance to visit Armstrong Family Winery.
Yeah,
And
love to have you.
yes, so and I just thank you for coming and joining us today and sharing your wine with us.
My pleasure, Karen. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.